charge in the Senate. The 2019-2020 Congress convened with roughly a quarter of the federal government closed, affecting 800,000 employees, and a shutdown triggered by Trump's demand last month for money for a U.S.-Mexico border wall as part of any legislation funding government agencies. The House earlier on Thursday had formally picked Pelosi, a veteran Democratic lawmaker and liberal from San Francisco, as its speaker, beginning her second stint in one of Washington's most powerful jobs. She is the only woman to ever serve as speaker and will preside over the most diverse U.S. House in history, including a record number of women and Latinos. The two-part Democratic package includes a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security at current levels through February 8th, providing $1.3 billion for border fencing and $300 million for other border security items, including technology and cameras. The second part would fund other federal agencies that are now unfunded, including the Departments of Agriculture, Interior, Transportation, Commerce, and Justice through September 30th, the end of the current fiscal year. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It seems like we're constantly hearing different fitness advice. Exercise 2 to 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes a day. And don't forget cardio. But don't exercise too much or you'll get hurt. So, how much exercise should you be getting? Well, actually not that much, since the human body is only built to withstand walking a short distance before lying or sitting down again. In fact, a group of biologists from Stanford found that walking more than 5 feet at a time can cause joint pain, fatigue, and even extreme hunger. The study concluded that the maximum effort the human body can safely endure is reaching for an item high on a shelf. Our bodies simply aren't built to stand up and move around. So maybe those high-intensity spin classes and daily jogs aren't such a good idea. Instead of walking up the stairs every day, try taking the elevator whenever possible. You can even use a fitness tracker to let you know when you've been exerting too much energy. Your body will appreciate it. For The Onion, I'm Jill Hooper.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. All you have to do is dial in toll-free to join us. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to jump into one of those and get on the air with us. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio if you do that. With you in this studio, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Starting out tonight, Darryl, I think you and I both had the same news story about Donald Trump and a press conference that he gave today where he's claiming he may be using executive powers.
Well, the article that I have says he's considering using, not that he actually is going to.
Yeah. Like I said, he may be using executive powers to build the wall. And further, according to FoxNews.com, says the shutdown could last for years, which...
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear, I think on your news today, FPP Radio News,
yes,
Darryl, that the Democrats have passed some sort of bill to try to end the shutdown.
Right.
But that's just the U.S. House. They would still need Trump
still
to
needs
sign
to go,
that.
Still needs to go through the Senate, and they need Trump to sign or have a veto-proof majority, which he's threatening to veto.
Do they have a veto-proof majority?
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, because they're a majority, right? But they're not like 70% or whatever, or 66.
The Republicans like to claim, well, half of the Republicans oppose Trump.
They do claim that.
So if enough Republicans vote with the Democrats, which they're probably not going to do that because that would be viewed as working with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one of those things to where it's possible. I don't really know. I've not looked to see... did anything actually wind up going through? Did they pass it, or did they just say, we have this bill, we're going to pass it?
What's the objective of the whole issue in the first place?
The shutdown?
Yeah, like
Donald Trump says, give me $5 billion for a wall that I swore 2 years ago, $5 billion that I swore Mexico would pay for, but we just have to put the money down, and then they'll give us money later.
Right.
Allegedly. The man's a baboon.
Wait, baboon or buffoon?
Both. The Democrats are saying, we'll give you $1.3 billion for border security.
Uh-huh.
For a wall specifically, I believe the Democrats are.
Just for border security.
Oh, okay.
It's
being reported as a wall.
They're using the term border security because they don't want to say wall. But it's basically, we'll give you $1.3 billion for down payment on a wall. You want $5 billion, so we're giving you something. We're just not giving you everything. And yeah, so
these people, of course, also have no principle. I mean, the Democrats are more than happy to throw all kinds of taxpayer dollars at border walls and border patrols and cameras and,
well, the principle is we're not Republicans, so we have to hate everything that they like. That's the principle.
Well, if they actually hated everything they liked, they would vote against the border wall and the border fence or whatever it is that they're going to end up building, and they haven't, and they're not going to, because the Democrats don't oppose the border patrol. They completely support it. It was ramped up during the Obama administration. Trump, of course, is he's just got more fiery rhetoric on the issue.
Right.
So none of them are any good, and all of them are working towards a greater police state here in the United States.
Right.
So
we don't already have it.
Greater police state, greater than it already is.
Okay, fair enough.
It's already great, as in not a great kind of good, like good kind of great,
yeah.
but as in
A bigger police state. Yeah,
thank you, bigger police state. So if you want to jump into the conversation, you can. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. The story I've got from Fox News here, that Trump stood firm today on his demands for a border wall after a second White House meeting with congressional leaders this week broke up with no apparent deal, warning Democrats the partial government shutdown could last years, and saying he could even declare a, quote, national emergency, unquote, to bypass Congress if necessary. Trump told reporters in the Rose Garden during a lengthy and impromptu press conference, quote, "We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country. I may do it. If we can do it through a negotiated process, we're giving it a shot." The press conference underscored how far apart both sides are, even as Trump called the meeting productive and suggested the standoff could soon end. And before we go on, it is interesting that I don't know how many people understand the idea of the national emergency, but it basically is essentially a way to just completely ignore the Constitution.
Right.
And it's not the first time this has been done. In fact, there are some people who will
not that
say,
Congress actually follows the damn thing anyway.
No, of course they don't. But this just gives them an excuse to completely ignore the Constitution. And it's something that they can supposedly legally do. The provisions are, purportedly legally present for these sorts of things. And all they have to do is cite whatever reason they want to, essentially the government of necessity. Whenever they say, well, it's necessary for us to have a national emergency because of fill in the blank. And so he'll say, well, national security, therefore national emergency. And does that legalize posse comitatus, or does that legalize where the military can come into the streets and occupy?
Probably. Yeah. And then there have been all kinds of provisions in various executive orders and National Defense Authorization Acts that allow, if there is a national emergency declared, the radio station that you're listening to right now could be hijacked by the federal government.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. I mean, at any moment, the EAS system, of course, can take over and play back.
I'm not talking about that.
You mean like straight up 24-hour, 7-day-a-week government takeover?
Yes.
Wow.
They have given themselves the authority because, well, we have licensed these airwaves, so therefore we can temporarily revoke or permanently revoke that license. And since we are the people that have given you the privilege of broadcasting, if we deem it a national emergency, then we can wind up taking it over and blaring whatever we need to over the airwaves.
Yeah, and of course the press doesn't really care about the idea of a national emergency. They just breeze right on by that concept in the story and end up just talking about, Trump versus the Democrats and the government shutdown, and which of course is a partial government shutdown.
Right.
And very
one thing
minimal.
that's interesting, I've got a different source on this story, and I've noticed that they have slightly more of part of one quote, but slightly less of part of a different one.
What's your source?
My source is CNN here. He says, again, we can call it a national emergency because of security. I haven't done it. I may do it, but we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly. If we just say national emergency, then like every man, woman, and child goes to the border immediately and starts.
No.
I was going to say laying brick, but he said it needs to be transparent.
Yeah, it's got to be a fence.
So lifting up slats of metal.
Yeah, that's a really useful quote. The idea that is he suggesting that because it's an emergency that it's going to get done faster? Because the government doesn't get anything done quickly. And just because they put the term national emergency out there isn't going to mean that a construction company is all of a sudden going to quicken its timetable by 30% or something like that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The more here from the story is they said that the sides are far apart. He indicated he was not shifting his demand for more than $5 billion for funding for a wall on the southern border, saying it was necessary as the border is a, quote, dangerous, horrible disaster. This is national security we're talking about. We're not talking about games. We're not playing games. We have to do it. Despite Trump saying conversations had, quote, come a long way, Democrats were more dour in their assessment, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer exiting, saying Trump told them that he'd, quote, keep the government closed for a very long period of time, months or even years. And I gotta say, if it does come to that, I will cheer it on.
Okay, so I'm curious. Does this include the northern border or just the southern border?
Okay. For now.
Yeah.
And they're also not going to do anything about all of the ocean.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Not yet. Don't give them any ideas, Darryl.
Yeah.
We got more
space wall.
More coming up here. You can take control of the airwaves. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And this is Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. All you have to do is dial toll-free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And joining you here tonight, you've got Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
All right, so let's see. We're talking about the Trump border demands. They continues to bluster about this, and of course the Democrats are willing to do something. They just don't want to give Trump as much money as he's demanding. He wants $5 billion. They want to give him between $1 and $2 billion. And so, you know, again, say hello to the police state. It's going to continue to get bigger and more intrusive and more oppressive over time. In fact, speaking of that, we've got some other news regarding the police state. Chris, you've got a story about Cody Wilson, which we haven't heard about in a little while. We'll get into that coming up tonight. Plus, Adam Kokesh, friend of Free Talk Live, sometime co-host here, has been arrested again. This on his new book tour. I guess it was like the first stop on his book tour. They got him in New Orleans on the side of the road. We'll tell you what that was all about. I don't know if we'll play an excerpt because the video is long, but I watched it in full last night, and I can recap what happened there. It was pretty ridiculous on the police's part. So that's all on the way here. You can, of course, share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Now, I think... Do you recall, Darryl, what the longest government shutdown, this half-Z's kind of less than half-Z's, 10% or whatever government shutdown, was it like 2 months?
I don't recall. I
feel like it was at least several weeks.
I'm thinking 21 days for some reason, but let me pull up a list.
When you get a chance, because this one, apparently, according to this Fox News story, has been going on for 14 days now. And so, I mean, I understand it's only 10 or 20% or whatever.
21 days from December 15th, 1995 to January 6th of 96.
It was the Clinton shutdown.
During Clinton.
That was the first time I became aware of
That was the
things.
second shutdown.
Yeah.
Under Clinton.
Yeah.
The first one under Clinton was 7 days in November 95.
So this is great news. That means we're just 1 week away from setting a new record for government shutdown. And what really just excites me the most about this, because if it does go on for years, if Trump's actually serious, now I completely oppose the idea of a border wall, let me just make that clear,
right.
But if he's actually serious that he's going to hold out on this and keep vetoing legislation that keeps being tried to get pushed through to end the shutdown, if he continues to veto this legislation and keeps this shutdown going, there's going to be a point at which these government bureaucrats, who many of them aren't getting paid, what was it, about 400,000 of them, I think? But there's 800,000 affected.
800,000.
400,000 aren't getting paid right now.
No. there are 800,000 that aren't getting paid. 400,000 of them are still showing up to work because they're told that they're essential. Another 400,000 are told you're non-essential, stay home, we'll call you when we need you.
Right. So you've got a bunch of government bureaucrats, 800,000 of them, who are not going to collect a paycheck. I believe on the 11th we determined was their next paycheck, if I recall correctly.
But will they eventually get a paycheck when the government reopens?
When they come back.
If the government reopens, is it really... How much of a shutdown is it? I mean, I guess the services aren't being provided, but...
Well,
I don't know.
You're right. If they get paid, then, and of course, Darryl, as you pointed out, they'll end up paying more for all of this in total because of all the different things they've had to do the shutdown on top of, been paying
they've had to,
after the fact.
In some cases, and I don't know if they've done it so far this time, but I know in previous shutdowns, they've had to bring in IT guys to change all of the websites to say this website is not available because of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
One thing that's interesting, the Crime a Day Twitter actually posted on the 22nd of December, but I just saw it earlier today. It's their pinned tweet. It says, please use @CrimeAday responsibly during the government shutdown. Because they tell you all of these weird things that are violations of federal law. Yeah. One of them that they posted 20 minutes ago, it's a federal crime to pull a water skier in a clockwise circle in the upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge.
Okay.
You can pull someone in a straight line. You can go counterclockwise, but you can't go in a clockwise circle. I guess you could go in a figure 8 because that's technically not a circle.
Correct. So the story here from Fox News says that Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, said Trump told them he'd keep the government closed for a long period of time, months or even years, which Trump later confirmed at his press conference, saying, absolutely, I said that. While clarifying he hopes the partial shutdown doesn't last more than a few days, he said it could be opened very quickly if they come to an agreement on the wall. He offered some flexibility only on what the wall would be made of, saying it could be concrete or steel. He said, steel is more expensive than the concrete, but I feel like we're talking about steel because the other side feels better about it.
Hold on. I thought he's the one that said that we needed a steel wall so that you could see through it, and you can't see through concrete because we're not Superman with X-ray vision or something.
I imagine it would be pretty hard to pour a concrete wall that you could see through.
Yeah.
Don't they have like transparent materials nowadays? Like,
sure.
I mean, I don't know if they have
windows,
concrete, but
transparent material is called a window.
Well, they have the sort of the semi-translucent, those blocks that you might see like outside of somebody's front door.
Yeah, but no, we need to be able to see if somebody's got a trebuchet launching drugs, and you can't really tell with those weird glass blocks.
You have to remember, Darryl, not everybody heard us originally talking about the trebuchets. You didn't just come up with that idea. That was what Trump actually originally was saying in 2017 when he first made comments about why the wall needed to be see-through so somebody could see someone launching with a catapult, basically, a 60-pound bag of drugs over the wall, so that way you don't get hit by
want that falling on your head.
Yeah.
That is the one way that you die from marijuana.
Yeah, if enough of it falls on top of you.
Yeah.
But that's the also funny thing about that statement is he's sort of tacitly acknowledging the failure of the war on drugs, right? Like because drugs can't be stopped by the government. They're being chucked over the wall by catapults.
Or in some cases, there's
drones.
That too.
That there's I think it's a Taco Bell, or it might not be Taco Bell, but
KFC.
A restaurant of some sort, like 20 meters off of the border, with a tunnel going under the border.
Yeah, this was like a recent discovery, right?
Last year or so. Yeah.
So
anyway, it's definitely not Los Pollos Hermanos.
That's a reference to Breaking Bad. Great show. Yet House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the Democrats' view is they can't resolve the funding dispute until the government fully opens. She said there had been progress only in the sense of a, quote, better understanding of each other. And looking for an elusive resolution, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Trump agreed to designate staff to engage in negotiations with congressional leadership aides this weekend. Trump later said the group would, quote, determine what we're going to do about the border. That group would include the vice president and some others. So day 14 of the shutdown. Hopefully this thing will continue. I don't think there's really anything else of relevance here in this particular story, but I'm just glad to see the government has continued to shut down. I hope it lasts for many, many months, many years, and then
I hope that people start realizing that we don't need the federal government.
If it was a real shutdown, I'd support you, but it's not, so I'm not sure I really care.
Well, if 10% of those government bureaucrats quit their jobs after a few months, would you support that?
I don't. If that was the case, but
the
I'm not
IRS
sure
is still taking people's money.
Oh yeah, they haven't shut the whole thing down.
Oh yeah, and they're not giving refunds.
855-450
really?
free like freedom. Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free to bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, where you can call in and talk about anything you want. We've been discussing the border wall and the government shutdown, this partial, very small government shutdown that has been going on now for 2 solid weeks. So hopefully that will continue on into many, many more weeks, because it's just a fantasy of mine to actually get to have it go so long to where these government bureaucrats are like, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I can't, I got rent to pay, right? Yeah. Because not all these people, the government bennies are great, right? Like they get pretty sweet health care and all that stuff, but most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of them do. And so I suspect a lot of these government bureaucrats are feeling a pinch after a couple of weeks, after a couple missed paychecks.
Well, again, as I pointed out, I forget if it was last week, a few days ago, whatever, a lot of the employees, especially the ones that are furloughed, can apply for and receive unemployment compensation.
Wow.
Oh, that ruins everything.
I wonder if...
Never mind.
Right, so the unemployment is handled at the state level.
Okay.
So, whatever the laws are in the various states are going to differ. But in New Hampshire, if you are furloughed, then there's some of the hoops that are waived for you.
I wonder if the benefits are also, curtailed because,
They're not going to say you no longer have health insurance.
No, I'm just thinking about not so much health insurance, but pension payments and things like that from the federal government.
If you're currently employed, you don't receive pension. You pay into...
Well, if you're retired, though.
Those aren't employees. You don't furlough people that are retired.
Right.
Yeah, but the department that issues the paychecks, or not the paychecks, but the benefits.
Yeah, that's
would that not be shut down?
I don't think so. I think they would consider that to be an essential thing.
Oh, no, good question.
Here's a question, and we should ask Sarah when she calls in. She might know because she said that she's on disability. Mm-hmm. That's handled through Social Security. Let's find out if she received her Social Security payment this month.
Excellent
Because
question.
that generally happens, as I understand it, on the 3rd of the month.
Oh, the third beginning. Okay.
Huh.
Gotcha.
Yeah. As I understand it, that...
But is that federal?
Social Security is a federal thing.
Okay.
If you're on SSI, which is Social Security Disability, then you get the money from the federal government.
Okay.
So I've never done an unemployment thing before.
Me either.
You said the rules differ state by state.
Yes.
Is there a certain length of time that they are limited to? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months?
I thought unemployment was connected to Social Security. No?
No, it's a state program.
Interesting.
No.
It's a federally mandated thing, right?
There are federal mandates on unemployment, but it is handled by the states.
Interesting. Okay.
But as far as your question of is it limited to 3 or 6 months, depends on the state. Mm-hmm. So there are different rules, and again, if you're furloughed, that's a completely different set of rules than if you got laid off.
I see. Yeah, I wonder if anybody out there knows more about unemployment. Have you ever collected any?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall? Was it Alabama, Texas? Where were you at?
Here in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay. Is New Hampshire? Do you want to say anything about what the rules were? Or what experience?
It's fairly difficult, and actually, I got it for a couple of months in Pennsylvania as well. Mm-hmm. Both wrongful termination cases, and. Again, they're slightly different things of how long you can collect, but it's based off of the amount that you earned over the previous 18 months or something, and fill out application for, need to collect. Here's the reason why I'm filing. And different states have different requirements of how many jobs they tell you that you have to apply for. And if you don't apply for the proper number of jobs during a week, you don't get benefits during a week.
Okay.
Which
Hampshire wouldn't apply during a furlough, I presume.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that the people that are furloughed don't have to do. Mm-hmm. I think in Pennsylvania, all I had to do was just every week call some telephone number and like press a button saying,
I applied for a job.
I need you to send me money this week.
So it's a weekly payment on the unemployment?
It was in Pennsylvania. I forget if it was weekly or biweekly here in New Hampshire. And again, that's something that's going to probably differ state to state.
And do you recall what the rule was in either of those states as far as how long you can just ride that train?
I don't remember.
If you know, the toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. I mean,
I'm thinking 6 months, but I don't recall. Yeah. And then there are things of if you say get a part-time job and you're making less than a certain amount, then you'll still receive unemployment of, like what they have deemed, let's just say $300 a week. We have deemed that you are eligible for $300 a week. You make $150, then they'll just subtract $150 from what you were making. And in some states, that will extend the amount of time that you can collect.
Gotcha. So with the unemployment for somebody who's on a furlough, in the case of these government workers, not every furloughed worker in like the private sector is going to get a paycheck after they come back. But in the government, they're going to get a paycheck for all the back pay. Right. So does that mean they got to pay back the unemployment?
Depends on the state. I know. I know somebody that was married to a federal employee or contractor in, I think it was Mississippi, might have been Louisiana, and they wound up having to repay the unemployment that they received during one of these shutdowns. But then I've heard that other federal employees in other states didn't have to repay. So it's a state-by-state thing.
And a lot of these employees are actually not in D.C. Of the 800,000 that are being affected by this shutdown, many of them are actually out in the other states, and like the
passport office in Portsmouth,
for instance. So, by the way, I do want to let you know that Bitcoin.com is one of our longtime sponsors here on Free Talk Live, and they've teamed up with the gift card specialists at eGifter. You can get some of the world's leading brands in gift card format with your Bitcoin Cash wallet, like Applebee's, Domino's, Home Depot, Uber, Hotels.com, Nike, and hundreds more. Just go to giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on the screen, and make your payment with your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight, and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. Go to giftcards.bitcoin.com. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com. On the way here, still, we've got updates on what's going on with Cody Wilson, the former CEO of Defense Distributed, the company that came out with the world's first 3D printable gun. They arrested him, I think it was late summertime, when he allegedly got together with a 17-year-old female in a hotel room for a sexual encounter after having met her online. It was an actual teenager. It wasn't like an undercover cop, but then the cops got brought in later, and he ended up catching at least one felony charge. Chris, you've got an update on that story. That's coming up. Plus, another liberty activist is behind bars tonight. Adam Kokesh, the author of, I believe his book's name is Freedom. He's a longtime YouTuber. He's done some great work on YouTube, interviewing people kind of in the streets, kind of man on the streets interviews. And this is not his first run-in with law enforcement, not his first arrest. So we will let you know what's going on with him. I did watch the arrest video last night. That's all on the way here tonight. But if you want to comment on the government shutdown, the furlough, all that, you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I realize it's, basically total fantasy that this is going to go on much longer. And that these bureaucrats will ever quit their jobs. But I got to say, I'd love to see that actually happen. That would be the ideal situation to come out of this circumstance. And I do appreciate the fact that Trump is at the very least threatening to do it. the threatening to go for years with this shutdown. So we'll see. Unless they have enough votes to override his veto, maybe that will be the case. I'll keep my fingers crossed for it. 855-450-FREE if you want to join us here on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, Follow the instructions on your screen and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 9 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield. Another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free. Bring up what you want right here. Our toll free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the arrest of Adam Kokesh, the most recent arrest of Adam Kokesh, still behind bars as of apparently it was like a couple days ago that this happened. I just caught the video last night. He's still behind bars in New Orleans as a result of this arrest. We'll tell you more about it coming up here with you in the studio. By the way, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Also want to make sure you know that Anarchapulco is, at this point, almost just around the corner. We're just over a month away from February 14th through the 17th in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico, where there will be a bunch of great speakers. I suspect Adam would have been attending. I don't know if he'll be attending this year. He's been there the last couple of years, but Ron Paul will be speaking.
And I suspect he's not going to be arrested before Acapulco's.
Ron Paul?
Yeah, you can probably count on Ron Paul being there
Yes.
to speak. Judge Andrew Napolitano also going to be there for the first time. Ron Paul was there in 2018, and it was great. In fact, he packed the house. The event was sold out. There's a good chance this one's going to sell out, too. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you probably shouldn't delay. Go to anarchapulco.com and punch in code FTL when you get your tickets. That's code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to save because you're a Free Talk Live listener. It's February 14th through the 17th. There are dozens of speakers already lined up for this. You can get the lineup over at anarchapulco.com. They'll be discussing a lot of different things because there's multiple stages, different topics like entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a amazingly beautiful world-class resort. Go see it for yourself over at anarchapulco.com and get your tickets there. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event. I will look forward to seeing you then. All right, so we continue here. Let's get the update on Cody Wilson, if you don't mind. Chris, you've got that story. I think we've done all the updates we can on this government shutdown. So Cody Wilson popped over. He was actually traveling internationally at the time when Austin police put out a warrant for
back
his
in
arrest.
August.
Yeah, and we covered
he was
it here.
in Taiwan, I believe.
It was Taiwan, and Taiwanese government goons grabbed him and ejected him from the country.
Because the United States government revoked his passport, and so then he was in Taiwan illegally.
Right. So that brought him back into the custody of presumably the U.S. Marshals, who then took him likely to Austin, Texas.
Correct.
Where he has... Did he post bail? Do you guys recall hearing if he posted bail?
I seem to recall that he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
He's not in jail now.
Okay, yeah. So he posted bond, and now the indictment has come out. So that's what's the latest?
Yeah, so Texas indicts Cody Wilson on multiple counts of sexual assault of a minor. This is according to Ars Technica. So the guy who obviously is behind Defense Distributed and produced the first 3D printed gun.
The Liberator is what that was called.
Yep, the Liberator has been charged with assault against a female child younger than 17 years of age, whom he reported solicited through the website sugardaddymeat.com.
Oh, she was young. That's right. She was younger than 17 because Texas's legal age is 17. So she was, I think, 16.
I don't even know if we know what her age is.
She was 16.
Okay.
Yeah. There were several of the criminal complaints that mentioned 16-year-old female.
Okay.
So what he did was entirely legal in multiple states in the United States, including New Hampshire.
Legal. Yeah.
But in this case, he's facing multiple felonies.
Although, actually, not actually some of the stuff he did would not have been legal, but not necessarily knowingly. I mean, if he had known, he wouldn't have done it in the first place, probably. Last Friday, December 28th.
Wait, if he would have known what?
So there's some down further it talks about how he apparently there's some photos that were exchanged, and that would have been a crime still in New Hampshire.
No. Okay. Yeah, let's get into it.
But last Friday, December 28th, the state of Texas finally formally indicted.
Indicted.
Yeah, why is it? Yeah, okay. This way it's spelled is different. Okay. The 3D printed gun advocate now faces multiple charges: 4 counts of sexual assault of a child, 2 charges of indecency with a child by contact, and 2 charges of indecency with a child by exposure. You know, that's interesting because that's
decency by exposure versus contact.
I've actually got the indictment pulled up.
Okay.
So I can
Does that mean he took his pants down in front of her even though there was no contact?
So count 5, which is the first of the indecency by contact charges, says on or about August 15th, before the grand jury finds that Cody Wilson did then and there, with the intent to arouse and gratify the sexual desire of Cody Wilson, engage in sexual contact with Faye Griffin, pseudonym, a child younger than 17 years of age, by touching the genitals of Faye Griffin, pseudonym. Count 6, and I scrolled down too far. Again, blah, da, 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 that he did with the intent to arouse and gratify the sexual desire of Cody Wilson, engage in sexual contact with Faye Griffin, pseudonym, by causing Faye Griffin to touch his genitals.
He caused her to do that. Maybe it was the fact that he met her on a sugar daddy website.
Yes.
Where she presumably had done this before. I mean, maybe it was her first time there, but presumably she'd done this before. She gets together with him because we read all the the charging documents back when this originally went down.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
They got together in a parking lot, and he took her to a hotel. They checked into the hotel, went into this hotel room, spent a few hours there, and then he took her to a different parking lot and let her out.
And there's security cam footage, allegedly, of them going into the hotel and then leaving the hotel.
There's even footage from I think it was a Whataburger where he dropped her off.
Yes,
afterwards.
It's interesting because the site itself, and this doesn't matter under the eyes of the law, the way the laws are in here, but he doesn't even. The site itself requires the people who participate to be over 18
to certify via checkbox or something like that.
So for him for people to jump on him as if he did something wrong when presumably he was under the illusion that she was over 18 to begin with, and it was entirely consensual and legal.
And she took the money after the fact. He apparently paid her $500. Now that wasn't agreed to in advance, so it wasn't prostitution.
Right.
There's no prostitution charges in here.
Count 7 is that he exposed himself to her, and count 8 is that he caused her to expose herself to him. So that's the difference between the exposure and the contact.
I see.
You got naked in front of her. She got naked in front of you. You touched one another.
Crimes. Yeah, these aren't crimes. At least they don't involve a victim. I understand the state would like to paint this girl as a victim, and also as a child, which I think is also insulting because...
And there's nothing in here that I'm seeing that says anything about there was never consent.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter whether there is or isn't consent according to the state, right?
Correct.
So it's
the state's argument is that you cannot consent if you're under the arbitrary age that they've selected,
which is just ridiculous.
Which changes state line to state line,
right? And that's why they also call her a child in this, because a child cannot consent. But the idea of child also suggests somebody who is not in any way sexually developed, right? Like a child is someone who has not hit puberty.
Of course not.
A 16-year-old female. Almost all of them have gone fully through puberty by that point. So the idea...
there's going to be a couple of exceptions here or there.
If there are exceptions, they're still going through puberty. They sure as hell aren't children. And I think that's one of the worst parts about these charges is if all you do is read the charge, it sounds like he's a child molester. It sounds like he went and forced himself.
Well, that's what they wanted. That's what the state
exactly
wants
what they want.
People to think.
Right.
It's not the reality, and they redefine words that we understand in one way to mean something else, so that it's immoral.
It's almost never the reality.
And if he were in Arkansas or Oklahoma, which are both states that neighbor Texas, what he did would have been perfectly
legal.
Yep.
I'm looking at the map here of age of consent by state. Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico are all 17. Mississippi, which is one state over, Arkansas, which borders Texas, and Oklahoma, which borders Texas, 16.
Well, now wait a minute. You said there were photographic-related charges, right?
Yeah, I don't know which of those charges have to do with the photos, but yeah, there's allegations here that there were photos involved or photos exchanged, it sounds like.
Okay, but you didn't see any charges about producing or manufacturing child pornography in there, Darryl?
No.
Okay.
You know what? It may be. Let me keep reading because it might just be that they're looking for that, and they're not actually accusing him of having done that. So it might be a little bit different than what I'm.
Well, technically, if she sent him nude photos and he held on to them, then they could probably charge him with possession of child pornography.
Probably true if there's more than 3 pictures, which it's not unlikely that there could be. But
none of these charges in this indictment have anything to do with photographs, videotape.
Well, when we get back, we'll see.
We'll continue.
Digital images
with that and see what it actually says here in the article, because it does say something about photos. But
the toll-free number, if you want to join us here, talking about the latest on the Cody Wilson situation. He is facing 8 counts, I think you said, 8 felonies for a completely victimless act. 855-450 free, like freedom. You can join us. Hour 2's next. Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, January 4th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,284 per ounce. Smart Cash is trading at 1.45 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,814. Antiwar.com reports after announcing the U.S. withdrawal from Syria in the wake of a phone call with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President Donald Trump held a second call days later seeking assurances from Erdogan about what would happen to the Syrian Kurdish territory Turkey is about to invade. Trump told Erdogan he was under pressure and needed a pledge from Erdogan that the Turkish invasion would not lead to a humanitarian crisis or destabilize the region. Exactly how this result was envisioned is unclear. Erdogan's pledges weren't super reassuring either, as he only told Trump he had no quarrel with Syrian Kurds per se, and reiterated his position that the Kurdish YPG are terrorists that need to be confronted militarily. Yet the YPG is also the de facto regional government of Rojava, the Syrian Kurdish territory, and invading that region encompassing 1/3 of Syria and destroying that faction through force of arms can be expected to both destabilize the region and cause a big humanitarian crisis. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports at the close of 2018, the U.S. national debt was more than $2 trillion higher than when President Donald Trump took office, according to data released on Thursday by the U.S. Treasury Department. The national debt reached $21.974 trillion as of December 31st. The increase in debt came a little more than a year after Trump signed a tax reform bill, and a lower corporate tax rate lowered Treasury revenues. The Congressional Budget Office also reported that the federal budget deficit increased to $779 billion, representing 3.8% of the gross domestic product in fiscal year 2018, up from 3.5% in 2017. Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Kevin Hassett said Thursday morning that Trump is absolutely concerned about the rising national debt, adding, "We can disagree about a lot of things, but we can agree maybe now is the time to get serious about the deficit." Hassett added that the rising debt contributed to Trump's decision in October to call for each cabinet agency to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments payments in 2019. The CBO said debt held by the public increased to 78% of GDP at the end of 2018, the highest percentage since 1950. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Democrats wasted no time flexing their new power in the U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday by approving legislation backed by new Speaker Nancy Pelosi that would end a 13-day partial government shutdown, ignoring President Donald Trump's demands for $5 billion for a border wall. The White House on Thursday issued a veto threat against both parts of the Democratic legislation, but that did not deter House Democrats. Thursday marked the first day of a divided government in Washington since Trump took office in January 2017, as Democrats took control in the House from his fellow Republicans who remain in charge in the Senate. The 2019-2020 Congress convened with roughly a quarter of the federal government closed, affecting 800,000 employees in a shutdown triggered by Trump's demand last month for money for a U.S.-Mexico border wall as part of any legislation funding government agencies. The House earlier on Thursday had formally picked Pelosi, a veteran Democratic lawmaker and liberal from San Francisco, as its speaker, beginning her second stint in one of Washington's most powerful jobs. She is the only woman to ever serve as speaker and will preside over the most diverse U.S. House in history, including a record number of women and Latinos. The two-part Democratic package includes a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security at current levels through February 8th, providing $1.3 billion for border fencing and $300 million for other border security items, including technology and cameras. The second part would fund other federal agencies that are now unfunded, including the Departments of Agriculture, Interior, Transportation, Commerce, and Justice through September 30th, the end of the current fiscal year. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Later in the hour, the U.S. Postal Service announces that you can deliver the mail yourself if you think it's so easy. But first up in health news, researchers from Harvard University have found a strong link between male virility and wearing Motley Crue denim jackets. For the study, researchers paired fans of the band with a control group and found that those wearing Motley Crue attire were far more likely to knock out some chick's totally jacked boyfriend and then do it with her later that same day than those who simply wore casual clothes and probably wouldn't know what it feels like to have 2 threesomes in one night.
Men who own jackets with an image of Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx sitting on top of a pair of breasts with nipples in the shape of pentagrams showed higher levels of sexual potency, endurance, and libido. These guys do it all the time, and sometimes even in public. They don't care.
Although the study primarily focused on men in Motley Crue jackets, researchers also found that men who listened to Nirvana had a high likelihood of staying virgins forever.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour here. You can take control of the airwaves. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, coming up here tonight, if we get the chance, a talk show host is gone into hiding. We'll tell you who, and we'll tell you why. But also on the way, we've got to talk about what's happening with Adam Kokesh, the libertarian activist, and somebody who's thrown in his hat for the Libertarian Party's presidential nomination in 2020. Just got arrested a couple nights ago in New Orleans. And
he also says he's running for not president, and he's currently not president. So does that mean he's already won?
Right. So we can get into that. He is currently behind bars at the moment, and we'll tell you what happened there. But speaking of behind bars, we just got into the beginning, I think, of a story about Cody Wilson, who is the founder of Defense Distributed. For those that don't know, that's a company that made a name for itself by not even really selling, but giving away plans for the Liberator. They ended up selling a product later called the Ghost Gunner, which allows you to essentially manufacture a gun from scratch. I mean, not exactly, but basically make an untraceable gun that has no serial number or anything like that up on it, and it's fully legal. And they were selling those things like hotcakes. In fact, they were so popular when we went, Mark and I went to tour the factory when we were down in Austin a couple years ago, I think it was now. No, it was like just over a year ago. And they were on a back order. So they were so loaded up with orders for these ghost gunners that they just couldn't handle they couldn't get them out the door fast enough, basically, to fulfill the orders. So these things were very popular and resulting in people having more gun freedom. So, of course, the government did everything they could to target this guy. I mean, they wanted to take him down. They haven't taken down Defense Distributed, but they've taken down its CEO or former CEO. They now have a new CEO who's a younger lady. So we're going to continue on that story. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. Let's go to the phones first, though, where Sarah is on the line in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Chris, and Darryl.
Yes, I heard the lowered alcohol percentage rate for the Utah, and I really like that idea. And
I heard about this for driving while intoxicated. They lowered it to, what was it, 0.05?
0.05.
From 0.08.
Correct.
What are the natural levels of alcohol in your blood like?
I don't think there are natural levels of alcohol in your blood.
I thought there were. No?
Why would there be?
Well, if you drink every day, then there will be levels of alcohol in your blood.
Yeah,
but
if you start your day out with a flask.
Well, if you eat an entire loaf of bread, there will be some amount of alcohol in your blood.
Because of the yeast or something?
Because the ingredients in bread are, for the most part, the ingredients used in beer.
But does that result in detectable levels of alcohol?
You would have to eat a lot of bread.
That sounds dangerous. You probably die because
that's why I said if
stomach.
you eat an entire loaf of bread.
Yeah, bad plan. Don't do
that,
kids.
I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is I'm just wondering, like, at what point is it going to get so low that it's just going to meet, like, everybody's going to, like, fail the test.
So on Sunday, we discussed this.
I mean, they've been lowering it for years and years and years. Like they have. They're constantly lowering it, and it just seems ridiculous.
Laurel had mentioned the numbers because the article that she had said this is roughly how many drinks it takes to wind up getting you to the point of being intoxicated.
Wasn't it 2 drinks roughly for 0.08?
Roughly 2 drinks.
But it depends on your body size.
Right, depends on body size, metabolism,
fat contents,
how much you've had to eat with what you're drinking. But let's say that you have 2 glasses of wine with supper. You're definitely going to be intoxicated in Utah based on the new rules.
Absolutely. Sarah, you said you're excited about this?
Well, I'm just hoping that we share the border with Utah, and I'm just hoping that it will rub off here to New Mexico.
What do you think the benefit of this is?
More money for the state.
I want to hear what Sarah thinks.
In New Mexico, we got drunk drivers going the wrong way, like 90 miles per hour, the wrong way on the freeway and killing families.
Have you actually seen that happen?
No, but we just had
I've seen that happen once. I don't know if it was 90 miles an hour, but I saw some drunk fool. It was like a New Year's Eve, one of those kind of nights, either New Year's or St. Patty's Day. It was one of those two. I think it was New Year's. And I saw some drunk idiot just going completely the wrong way. Like, there was no way he could have, like, even if he were somewhat conscious and aware, that he could have known he wasn't going in, that he was going into the wrong lanes. Because it was a highway or a very large road, like at least 4 lanes, where there was a large median in the way. So it wasn't like he just wasn't paying attention. You totally turned into the wrong.
Are you sure it's not an age situation? Because as people get older,
could have been. It was Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times you can easily.
But he was driving like crazy too. So I think he was just wasted.
It could have been old and
wasted. He was driving like a nut job. But anyway, Sarah, I get where you're coming from. It's scary to see drunk people on the road. They end up killing people. Sometimes they kill themselves, but in a lot of cases, actually in an accident, from what I understand, the drunk person will end up okay, whereas the other person will end up
drinking
dead.
And driving is safe then.
I wouldn't say that. But there's something to do with, and I don't know if this is true, but
statements made by Chris are his and his alone and do not necessarily reflect the views of Free Talk Live.
For all of us. I remember hearing this, and I don't know if this has been disproven at this point, but I remember hearing that the drunk person is less likely to, like, brace themselves for a crash.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and so they're just going to, like, kind of go with the flow, so to speak, whereas if you brace yourself for the crash, you might actually end up breaking more bones or possibly dying.
So before anybody can get in a car, they should have to have a few drinks then.
No.
That's a bad idea.
Have you ever had a few drinks?
Bad idea.
I don't drink.
That's what I thought. Okay. Let's not take advice from the guy who's never actually. Have you ever had a single drink in your life?
I've.
You went to college.
I'm not
didn't you?
like a prohibitionist or anything.
You
like
went to
that.
college, though,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and I have
had a drink.
More than
one.
even excessively, I would say.
Oh,
but
you have? Okay.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
get me wrong.
It's just been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's good. I mean, it's not good, but it's good. It's not good that you have
Chris
that.
is the youngest old man here. Where he's like, oh, yeah, back when I was in college, I had a party that one time. It seems like it was 50 years ago.
I've
but
had
for
some
him,
bad
it was like 5.
No, it was like every weekend for like 2 years. And then after that, it was
so
like.
you've had some bad times then. If you've done it every weekend, probably. You've probably been too drunk, right? That's
a little,
happened to you?
excessively.
Okay. That's one of the reasons I quit a long time ago when I did quit. I'm no longer quit, but was because I had a really bad time.
I just managed to
17.
like just go overboard for too long and too short a period of time, and then I was like, "That's it,
That's enough."
And I pretty much haven't drunk since.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, I have a lot of respect for people who don't drink. I think it's hard to not drink in this society because it's so common.
It is
so popular and it's so socially acceptable, and you're frequently the odd man out if you're not drinking around another group of friends and that kind of thing. Sarah, are you a drinker?
No, I do not drink alcohol at all, but we have a lot of drinkers, as you know, like drunken pedestrians and drunken drivers here in New Mexico. So what is our DWI rate here? We used to be actually number one for many years for DWIs, and then we dropped down to like 15. So I don't know if we're in like
here's the problem with what it is you're advocating. You're advocating that they lower the DUI threshold, the BAC level. In Utah, they did it from 0.08 to 0.05, which doesn't that mean 5% of your alcohol or your blood content is alcohol, basically? I think that's what that means, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong.
I don't think 5%.
No? Is it 5% of a percent or something like that?
Something like that.
I don't know. We did check. We should check that. What does a BAC actually mean? It's one of those. It's one of those numbers. But Sarah, so the problem with what you're advocating here is it's actually not going to make the roads safer. Would you be surprised if you found out that the roads weren't any safer because of lowering it from 0.08 to 0.05?
No, I believe that it will make it safer.
Why?
Do
you think people are going to? Do you think people getting busted for DUI actually stops them from drinking in the future and driving?
No, here they have like 20 DWIs and they still drive around.
See, that's the point. So what makes you think that it's gonna change anything?
Magic.
Because thank you for the call tonight, Sarah. Because that's the point. Is people who get DUIs usually keep getting them.
That's true.
They usually
even
get behind
after
the wheel
they get their license taken away.
Yeah. They have a huge problem with drinking and a bunch of criminal charges. Not only do they not make their lives any better, they make them worse, which drives them further into depression and more drinking.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. Join us on the radio here. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over and available to you over at our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. What is Discord, you ask? It's an internet chat room, basically. It's a bunch of chat rooms on our Discord server. There's the main one where everybody kind of hangs out during the show, but there's also other rooms, like one about cryptocurrency, one about gaming. There's a kind of like a music, movies, pop culture room. There's even some not safe for work rooms, one of which is very not safe for work ever since Jackie's been posting some of the most disgusting pictures she can find on the internet there. So be very careful with the not safe for work rooms right now. She's trying to combat a particular troll who's been in that room for quite a while, and it's not going to work because that particular troll is very dedicated, and I don't think that ugly pictures are going to scare him away. But so just beware. If it says NSFW on it, take that seriously on the Free Talk Live Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. And have fun there, because most of the rooms are pretty fun, and there's a good group of folks in there talking about a variety of different things. And it's free, discord.lrn.fm. By the way, I do want to make sure that you know about AnyPay. Now, if you're interested in accepting cryptocurrency, like let's say Bitcoin, BTC, or Dash, maybe Zen or Zcash, you can easily do it with AnyPay.global. In fact, if you're an Android user, if you got an Android tablet, for instance, up at your point of sale in your retail establishment, just load up the AnyPay Take Crypto app. Now, when you search for AnyPay, don't go with the one that doesn't say Take Crypto. There's another AnyPay out there, and it's got a similar looking logo, so you got to be careful. I don't know what that one does. I have not installed that AnyPay. It's not the AnyPay you want. You want the one called Take Crypto. You install that one. And you can actually do all the registration right there in the app right now. So go and try that out. Or you can go to anypay.global, register there. And when I say register, all you got to do is create a username and password. That's it. There's no approval process. There's nobody reviewing your application. There is no application. You just create the username and password. You're in. You put your settings. You put your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the settings page, and then load up the app on your point-of-sale device. And yes, if you have an iOS device, you can also use that as well. The official app has yet to be released for iOS, but there's a web version. So check it out at anypay.global, and for merchants, it is free to use this. So there's no reason not to. Now you can take crypto, and you don't have to pay some ridiculous cut to whoever it is that was providing you with the merchant services. Now you can just do it through anypay.global. Check it out. All right, so we were just talking about DWI, BAC. Darryl, you've been doing a little bit of research.
Yes.
We learned apparently that it's what's the BAC 0.1 or
right,
0.08 or whatever.
Right. So 0.1 would be 1/10 of 1%.
Okay. So it
meaning
wasn't 1% or 10%.
0.1 gram of alcohol for every 100 milliliters of blood.
So wait, it was 1/10 of 1%?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So
now
what you were doing is looking 0.05, and then you move the decimal point, because that's what you do if you're, like in a word sheet and then you're converting something from a decimal to a percentage. But in this case, they're showing you the percentage, and the decimal is where it belongs.
So 1/10 of 1%, which now in Utah, it is half of 0.1%.
Correct. And this wiki page that I'm on, they have a handy little chart showing you if you are a man or if you are a woman and you weigh X, after one drink, your BAC will be Y. So for a man, and you say you're
just
around 140, one drink would put you at 0.03. Same
one
thing
drink
if you
being a beer, maybe like your typical low-range beer?
Yes.
Okay.
Or a mixed drink or a glass of wine. And there are definitions on...
Right, because the wine that I drink is like 13%.
Yes, but a glass of wine is also supposed to be like 3 or 4 ounces.
Good point.
Whereas your standard beer is 12 or 16.
See, when Aria was in here, she was pouring like full-on 12-ounce glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's like three
drinks.
Three drinks, okay. Which would wind up putting you at
drunk
0.08.
Yeah,
which would be drunk basically everywhere, and would have you almost double the limit in Utah.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started driving, the BAC level was 0.1.
Wow. Okay.
And then it wound up getting decreased a couple years later.
That. I don't remember that at all. And we're close to similar age.
Yeah. It was back
I remember it used to be way, way higher than it is. But they kept lowering year after year, constantly.
Yeah, and I forget when, and I know at some point it was lowered from 0.15 to 0.1.
What I'm trying to figure out right now is when was drunk driving outlawed?
That's a good question. Probably pretty early on. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
When was it first outlawed? When was the first time there was a law against it?
But one thing's for sure, the law doesn't stop people from drinking and driving. I mean, look at the right in our chat room. It's exactly what I told Sarah. There's a person in the chat room on Twitch right now. By the way, we're live on Twitch every night over at twitch.lrn.fm. That's our video stream, our primary video streaming service. Carolina Rebel says his or her, I'm not sure, first DUI was completely, still a man says. Okay, so he says, my first DUI was completely made up by crooked police. The second one was real. So a lot of DUI people end up getting more than one DUI. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it happen that somebody who's gotten a DUI before ends up drinking again and gets behind a wheel because drunk people aren't particularly good at reasoning. Drunk people aren't particularly good at, thinking clearly. They tend to think they're better drivers sometimes. If somebody's drunk enough, they think they're just fine.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. Everybody's seen this. If you've been at enough parties with enough drunks, you've seen the drunk person, lazily, sloppily grabbing for their keys, trying to find their way to the car, and just while at the same time announcing to everyone about how great they are, and they're going to just be just fine driving home.
If your BAC is 0.06 to 0.099, you will probably have blunted feelings, a reduced sensitivity to pain, euphoria, disinhibition, extroversion.
Disinhibition from driving.
Your impairments will be reasoning, depth perception, peripheral vision, and glare recovery. If you are slightly over 0.1, overexpression, boisterousness, and possible nausea and vomiting. Your reaction time goes down. Your motor skills are grossly impaired. Your reflexes are impaired. You begin to stagger. You have slurred speech, and you might have temporary erectile dysfunction.
Oh, my. And then you start to get up to 0.2, and you start getting some really
nausea,
wasted people.
Vomiting, emotional swings, anger, partial loss of understanding, impaired sensations, possibility of stupor, impairments, memory blackout, loss of consciousness, and severe motor impairment.
We got more.
Higher than that, bladder function starts to go.
On the way. We still have to finish up this story about Cody Wilson. So we're going to come back into that because there was more, I think, that you had in your story there, Chris.
There was a little bit more.
Cody Wilson plus Adam Kokesh was not driving when he was arrested in New Orleans. So we'll tell you what happened there. And I suspect he had a few drinks just because of the way he sounded in the video. So he wasn't driving, wasn't a danger to anybody. We'll tell you why the cops picked him up in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
They started with Google Glass, and now the engineers behind Google have created a new body part to strap gadgets onto. They're calling it the flange, and the new synthetic skin appendage fits between the shoulder blades into a flat surface capable of holding a wide array of new gadgets for Google to hawk to consumers. While unveiling the innovation today, Google CEO Larry Page said, quote, "The possibilities for the number of completely pointless gadgets to strap, bind, and stick to your body are now endless." Early adopters are already raving about the synthetic body part.
It overheats and burns my skin pretty bad when I have it on, but I'm really getting to like it.
I'm actually thinking of getting a second one installed.
Critics are cautioning the tech world to not hail the flange as an achievement yet, since several users have reported problems with the device permanently grafting to their spinal column if worn overnight. Coming up next, Doritos unveils new e-Doritos that come in JPEG form whenever you're hungry.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author Jason Hansen is giving away a book that covers the 37 items that you must have to survive a crisis, things that can save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event at freeescapebook.com. The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 items you must have to survive a crisis, is free for a limited time at freeescapebook.com. These 37 items don't come from some internet list. Instead, these items come from Jason's experience as a CIA officer where he had escape bags. In his free book, he also gives advice on what are the best guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters to have in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your copy at freeescapebook.com. That's freeescapebook.com. As we continue here, we got more on the Cody Wilson indictment that has been handed down with, so far, 8 felony counts. One of them, of course, or I think more than one of them, sexual assault-related so-called crimes where, of course, there's actually no victim. For those that aren't familiar with the case, maybe you're just tuning in. Cody Wilson...
At least not in this case.
Right, yeah. Well, not in this case and not in a lot of cases as well. Pretty much, if it's got a teenage girl involved in it, I'm going to go ahead and presume that there's no actual victim. In this case, Cody Wilson, the founder of Defense Distributed, the same company that came up with the world's first 3D printable gun, which is the reason why he's being targeted, in my opinion. But that Cody Wilson was arrested in, I think it was late August, for these allegations surrounding him meeting a teenage girl who is 16 years old in Texas on a sugar daddy website. I think it was called sugardaddymeet.com, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
And got together with this girl. They had some sex, and then he dropped her off at a Whataburger and figured he was done with it after giving her $500, because I guess that's what sugar daddies do. And then she, at some point, went to the police. And the story, if I recall correctly, was
Wasn't
that
it a friend who went to the police after they shared information or something?
She had some sort of counselor. So she has a therapist or something like that. There was some adult woman who actually ended up going to the police to let them know. And then the cops came in, and then obviously she spilled the beans against this guy. And you've got more from the story. And where was your source on this? Was Ars Technica?
Yes, this is from Ars Technica. Yep. Yeah, these charges are all second-degree felonies, punishable by up to 20 years in prison and
per
fines
charge,
up to $10,000. Unsure about that, but yeah, I mean, it says that's what it says. I just read it off directly, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's per charge. Yeah,
because a felony, you're usually going to get at least 3 years in prison per, and so anyway, go ahead.
Let's see here. See, that's actually not interesting. So the part that's interesting here is, I think, more down about the photographs, even though...
Photos that they exchanged, by the way, before they met. So when they were on the website talking with one another, she ostensibly sent him nude photos of herself.
Yeah.
That was one of the original reports.
Yeah, so this is the part that I thought was interesting. A quote. Let's see here. Beyond that evidence, Travis County Magistrate Judge signed off on a few additional search warrants, one from September 26th asked for permission to seize photo evidence of Wilson's groin and upper leg area since the alleged victim initially told authorities she and Wilson exchanged nude photos, and the affidavit states Wilson had a uniquely identifiable skin condition. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like there is an allegation based on that. I guess of some sort of photos being exchanged, nude photos.
But they didn't charge him with possession of child pornography.
I wonder if that has to do with the fact that nudity in and of itself is not
porn. That's an interesting question, isn't it? Because, the old judge, I forget, which judge it was, but there's that classic court case where the judge was asked,
I know it when I see it.
How do you know it's pornography? He says, I know it when I see it. And of course, there are examples of artsy kind of photographs of young people. In fact, even children. There were books. We read a story years ago.
There was a what was it, a record in the 70s that had a naked 8-year-old
like on the cover,
and it's on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia has refused to take it down.
Really?
Where people said it's child porn.
They're saying it's artwork.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Well, I mean, look, it's not child pornography taking a picture of your kid in the bathtub, right? The reason
certainly people have made the accusation that it is, but
anybody who says that's child pornography, something's wrong with that person, right? Because the reason why that's not child pornography is because it's not sexual. Now, if somebody looks at that picture and thinks sexual thoughts, that's the problem with the viewer, not a problem with the photographer.
That does kind of beg the question, though. What defines sexual?
Well, again, that's where the judge came in and said, "I would know it when I saw it."
But if it's not sexual to him, presumably,
if it's not sexual to the judge,
right, or it is sexual to the judge, does that mean?
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. It's all arbitrary.
Right.
That's the problem. It's completely arbitrary.
There's no clarity as to what that even means.
No doubt. I mean, it would have to do with the circumstances of the photograph.
And the person who is viewing that photograph.
Well, correct.
Presumably.
Yes. However, there's certainly more people are going to look at the kind of classic picture of the kids playing in the bathtub or whatever. I mean, which parents didn't take pictures of their kids in the bathtub at some point, in the past? I'm sure almost all parents have done that at some point. It's just that, now you don't have to take them to the developers. Remember, you used to have to take rolls of film. Kids back in the day, your parents had to take these rolls of film into a store, and then if somebody in the store or the developing department or whatever, because sometimes the stores would just collect the rolls and ship them out. But if somebody in the developing company or whatever was looking through this and they thought it was pornographic, they could then report you.
And they did, because
sometimes
I forget why, but the process of developing film it involves looking through the pictures, from what I understand.
Yes, it does.
There's not a way, as far as I know, there's not a way to avoid it.
That's correct. You have
in
to
the
look
first
at the
place. You have to look through it.
Mm-hmm.
And if the store's policy was, which probably
all stores have the policy,
probably was something along those lines.
Even the XXX rated ones, because there were certain developers that would do pornographic photos. Like you would want to take. Like it was like a sex shop or whatever. Some of them had film development as a service that they offered.
I didn't know they did film development.
I don't think it was a whole lot of them, but there were certain stores that had that. It
wouldn't surprise me, but I was too young for.
Yeah, I've never been in those places, but I know they existed. I remember seeing it advertised on the front of one of the stores because, like, as a kid, you always want to know what's going on in those places, right? And then you see what. You can see as much as you can from the outside. But so they would offer that service. But if you tried to put something in there that was illegal, they're going to report you on that. And the crazy thing is the bathtub pictures ended up being reported more often later on. I don't think in the 80s or anything anybody ever, would have reported something like that.
Probably not in the 80s.
You would think not, but
into the 90s a little bit.
Yeah. So the point being, if this girl, this teenager, this 16-year-old girl, who probably is, going through, if not finished with puberty at this point, takes a nude photo of herself. And in the photo, she's not doing anything overtly sexual, right? Because I think pretty much everybody would agree if she's touching her genitals, that makes it a sexual photo, right? Like that. Most people looking at a photo like that, judges, juries, whoever, they're going to say that's a sexual photo. But if she's just naked in front of a mirror, is that sexual?
The problem with that, though, is there's people who would say that any nudity at all, even of the face, would be, a veil. Somebody who wears a veil in the Middle East. I mean, that would be pornography to them.
Well, so one of the things that I find very interesting. It just
seems utterly ridiculous that having your hand around your groin is then sexual. If because it's such a variable thing depending on the culture.
Around versus touching. I mean, again, where do you draw the line?
Right, but there are people, especially the conservative types, that if a female were lying naked on a couch, and she took a picture of herself, that's pornography. We can't have that. But if it's a painting hanging up in a museum, why, that's art. Classic art.
Fine art.
What's the difference? What is really the difference?
Good question, although I'm sure there are some conservatives who are against the art as well. But the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want. Take control of the airwaves here. Weigh in on what defines pornography. That's sort of a larger question, and we still have more on the Cody Wilson indictment coming up here on Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. We're talking about that age-old question, what defines pornography? And, of course, we're on the radio, so we have to be careful how we talk about these things. We would not want to be accused of pandering to the lowest common denominator, so we got to be careful about that. So, toll-free number here if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Thank you to Nate Porter, who is a Free Talk Live Platinum Amplifier. That means he gives $25 per month to the Free Talk Live AMP program. What is the AMP program? AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and it is a way for you to help us get on new radio stations. And I'm excited to next week we'll be announcing at least 1 or 2, maybe more new stations, because there's a few talk show hosts that are leaving the airwaves here at the beginning of 2019. And whenever that happens, we get excited here at the Affiliate Relations Department of Free Talk Live, because it means opportunities for Free Talk Live. So we're getting on new stations, and I don't like to announce them until after we actually start. So I'm not going to spill
What's
the beans.
What's the number currently?
191, I think, is our current count, or just above 190.
I almost gave the telephone number.
Nate Porter, thank you for doing that. You can join the AMP program. You don't have to do $25 like Nate is. It's $5 a month. That's all we ask for, and that's money that we invest into Free Talk Live. We use to get on new radio stations. We use to advertise the show to those stations, and then that means the more stations we're on, the more people hear the ideas of liberty, the more people can be exposed to the ideas of freedom and cryptocurrency and peace, ideas you just don't hear about on national radio anywhere. So if you like what we do, please just take a moment. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. You get some really cool perks and benefits like access to the supporters rooms on our Discord, the AMP-only Facebook group, and more over at amp.freetalklive.com. And you can do it with PayPal. You can do it with credit card. You can do it with Bitcoin BTC. Your choice. ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones. Matthew is in Louisiana watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Matthew.
Yeah, so y'all were talking about pornography, and I just remembered something that I saw on the Alternative Influencers Network. Have y'all heard of the fapping or the wanking license that you have to have in the UK to view online pornography?
Wait, what?
No. What? I mean, I know they have the TV licenses in the UK. I didn't know they had a porn license.
Yes, no, the consumer has to have it to keep the little children from being able to access online pornography. And this was passed, of course, by the...
when was this passed?
It goes into effect. It is in effect right now in the UK.
Really? I just pulled up a story from the UK Independent. I don't see a date here.
I'm aware that there was like a censorship filter in the UK, but
it says that high street news agents are to sell so-called porn passes that will allow adults over the age of 18 to view websites anonymously. These 16-digit cards will allow browsers to avoid giving personal details online when asked to provide their age.
What? So these like prepaid credit cards?
I think it's not a tremendously large amount of sum, but needless to say, everybody's like they're amazed and they're having fun with it, and some people are thinking, okay, it's time to do the VPN thing, because I mean until they actually get out of the EU, they're subject to the EU copyright directives and a whole bunch of draconian stuff from the EU's as well. So,
well, I can certainly say my company sells VPN services and products, and they do sell well in the UK.
Dateline on this is May 13th, 2018. So within the last year, is when this seems to have gone into effect over there.
Well, I mean, how does that even work? Because obviously, if you go to a website that's pornographic, that's in the UK, and I can only imagine that there can't be that many in the UK, they're not going to require this in order to access the content.
Well, what
the article doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't get this at all.
Every country has methods, apparently, of limiting what people can see within the country, because I know that there's certain online content that's blocked here in the United States.
Yes.
So, needless to say, the UK, if, let's say, somebody goes to one of the online pornography sites, it'll be, due to such and such restrictions, you must provide your 16-digit code here. And then when you put the code in...
Here's a story from the BBC, because the other one I had was a kind of an online tabloid report on this. According to the BBC, this from April 27th of 2018, you're soon going to have to prove you're 18 or over if you want to watch porn online. It could mean handing over your email address or even credit card details to verify your age. This is because the government is going to make it a legal requirement for all porn sites to introduce age verification software. Now, presumably, that would only be porn sites that are based in the UK.
Yeah.
Because
they have no jurisdiction outside the UK.
Right. I mean, I don't know what percentage of them are based in the UK.
In theory, they have no jurisdiction outside of the UK, but based on the way the United States federal government has prosecuted stuff.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, you can view it here, so therefore you must comply.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good luck forcing somebody in another country to comply.
I mean, the problem is that unless the country has an ability to force another jurisdiction to, like, basically hand over its citizens, which, you know, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you know, it's the United States is kind of
it's not going to happen.
It's a very unique situation. I think just because the United States has more of that power around the world than most other countries do. So
yeah, but even so, I mean, they haven't gotten Julian Assange out yet. They haven't gotten
again. It's not every country. Obviously,
no, I'm talking about the USA, the big, most powerful behemoth.
Even the U.S. doesn't have control over every country, right? Like, it's certainly Russia is not going to cooperate.
They're trying to get Kim.com out of New Zealand, and they have failed so far. They're still working that way through the courts. It may end up happening, but it's taken years just to try to get him out.
They also claim that he's evading arrest because he has never been to the United States of America and refuses to show up.
Right, it's true too.
Because you're not coming here so that we can arrest you, you're evading arrest.
Go ahead, Matthew.
But the question is, does the UK have like a UK firewall?
They do. They have a censorship filter.
Right.
Really?
Yes. The UK actually has, I don't know exactly, obviously I don't know what sites are on the list, but there is a large list of sites that are banned in the UK.
So they will ban your porn site if you don't do the thing they're saying.
I don't know if that's the case, because
that's the only
so
option they have.
Hold on. The original reason that they implemented a censorship filter, was because of child porn.
That's always where they start.
Right, that's where they start.
Yeah.
But the question is, what has it been extended to? And that is unclear whether or not it's been extended to other general pornography. Now, what I do know is that they have another censorship list.
General pornography. Didn't he serve in World War I?
There's another censorship list in the UK that all ISPs have to implement by default.
Like terrorism or whatever probably is on there.
That's probably also got terrorist content on there. But the point that I guess I'm trying to make here is that if you don't go to your ISP and say, I want to lift that censorship list, then that other pornographic content that's not child pornography will also be blocked.
Well, you know they're going to expand it after this thing. If this thing is going into effect and or is in effect, then that's their only recourse, because they're not going to be able to extradite everybody who runs a porn site all around the world. I mean, how many porn sites are there? Tens of thousands? Hundreds of thousands? I mean, depending on how you're going to, depending on how you define pornography, there's the professional porn, there's the amateur porn, there's so much porn. Like, there's a good chunk of the internet that's probably porn out there.
Right. And Wired has an article about this, and a little bit of, like, how will it work? And apparently the websites that require age verification, that use different things. They mention here Yoti, Vereem, GBG, AV Secure, and Age ID. Apparently, those companies are working to implement whatever this 16-digit something.
That sucks.
But, like Pornhub, there's no click here that I'm over a certain age.
You just go in there and there's free porn, right?
Go. So it sounds to me it's the sites that have some kind of age verification something on them already.
Well, right. That's just it. The sites that want to have UK users are going to jump through these hoops.
Right.
Because otherwise, they're going to get blocked. That's what's going to happen. They're going to block any site that doesn't do this.
They're already blocked by default anyway. That's the crazy thing.
Thank you, Matthew, for the call tonight. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention here. I do have a little bit more here from the BBC. And again, that's the official mouthpiece of the government. So we'll see what they have to say about exactly how this is going to be implemented. You can supplement from the Wired piece, too, as well, because I know that came out later this year. I've got that one pulled up, too. You want to jump in and talk about this? You can. Plus, this all ties back into the whole Cody Wilson indictment situation, where he is facing decades in prison for just simply having a sexual encounter with a teenage girl who was obviously old enough to know what she was doing. There's more on the way here. This is Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, January 4th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,284 per ounce. Smart Cash is trading at 1.45 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,814. Antiwar.com reports after announcing the U.S. withdrawal from Syria in the wake of a phone call with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President Donald Trump held a second call days later seeking assurances from Erdogan about what would happen to the Syrian Kurdish territory Turkey is about to invade. Trump told Erdogan he was under pressure and needed a pledge from Erdogan that the Turkish invasion would not lead to a humanitarian crisis or destabilize the region. Exactly how this result was envisioned is unclear. Erdogan's pledges weren't super reassuring, reassuring either, as he only told Trump he had no quarrel with Syrian Kurds per se, and reiterated his position that the Kurdish YPG are terrorists that need to be confronted militarily. Yet the YPG is also the de facto regional government of Rojava, the Syrian Kurdish territory, and invading that region encompassing 1/3 of Syria and destroying that faction through force of arms can be expected to both destabilize the region and cause a big humanitarian crisis. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports at the close of 2018, the U.S. national debt was more than $2 trillion higher than when President Donald Trump took office, according to data released on Thursday by the U.S. Treasury Department. The national debt reached $21.974 trillion as of December 31st. The increase in debt came a little more than a year after Trump signed a tax reform bill, and a lower corporate tax rate lowered Treasury revenues. The Congressional Budget Office also reported that the federal budget deficit increased to $779 billion, representing 3.8% of the gross domestic product in fiscal year 2018, up from 3.5% in 2017. Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Kevin Hassett said Thursday morning that Trump is absolutely concerned about the rising national debt, adding, "We can disagree about a lot of things, but we can agree maybe now is the time to get serious about the deficit." Hassett added that the rising debt contributed to Trump's decision in October to call for each cabinet agency to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments in 2019. The CBO said debt held by the public increased to 78% of GDP at the end of 2018, the highest percentage since 1950. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Democrats wasted no time flexing their new power in the U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday by approving legislation backed by new Speaker Nancy Pelosi that would end a 13-day partial government shutdown, ignoring President Donald Trump's demands for $5 billion for a border wall. The White House on Thursday issued a veto threat against both parts of the Democratic legislation, but that did not deter House Democrats. Thursday marked the first day of a divided government in Washington since Trump took office in January 2017, as Democrats took control in the House from his fellow Republicans, who remain in charge in the Senate. The 2019-2020 Congress convened with roughly a quarter of the federal government closed, affecting 800,000 employees, and a shutdown triggered by Trump's demand last month for money for a U.S.-Mexico border wall as part of any legislation funding government agencies. The House earlier on Thursday had formally picked Pelosi, a veteran Democratic lawmaker and liberal from San Francisco, as its speaker, beginning her second stint in one of Washington's most powerful jobs. She is the only woman to ever serve as speaker and will preside over the most diverse U.S. House in history, including a record number of women and Latinos. The two-part Democratic package includes a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security at current levels through February 8th, providing $1.3 billion for border fencing and $300 million for other border security items, including technology and cameras. The second part would fund other federal agencies that are now unfunded, including the Departments of Agriculture, Interior, Transportation, Commerce, and Justice through September 30th, the end of the current fiscal year. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's the story that's stunning the tech world. Despite his age, 6-year-old data entry prodigy Jeffrey Peters is already entertaining offers from dozens of major temp agencies. Experts say Jeffrey's abilities to sit still and perform mind-numbing tasks in Excel and Word for hours on end rank with a freelance worker 3 times his age. But Jeffrey's mom says that she knew he was special from early on.
I've always thought that Jeffrey was different from the other kids. He started wearing glasses for computer strain when he was just 3 and a half, and he already has some pretty significant significant tendinitis.
I've always wanted to work at Maverick Recruiting.
The data entry whiz is at the center of a bidding war between industry titans like Workforce Solutions and Metropolitan Staffing, both offering lavish perks like starting salaries of up to $15,000 and a cramped cubicle shared with only 2 other temps. Jeffrey's parents say that given the generous offers he's already received, he could be well on the way to affording a dingy rundown apartment of his own.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. On the way, we can talk about what happened to Adam Kokesh in New Orleans when he was arrested on the side of the road. Is it true what some have said is that he was just parked on the side of the road waiting to be arrested? No, that's not at all what happened. I'll tell you more about that on the way here tonight. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
But we kind of went off in a different direction after starting the conversation about Cody Wilson, the founder of Defense Distributed, who was arrested late this summer for ostensibly committing the so-called act of sexual assault, among other various related charges, now hit with 8 felony counts. And recent news released this week, the indictment has come down. All of it surrounding one evening with a young woman who happened to be a year under the age of consent in the state of Texas. In other states,
that he met on a website where users had to say, I affirm that I am at least 18 years of age.
Correct. And so she acted as though she was over the age of 18. She probably looked like a developed teenage girl looks, and he went right ahead and did what he did, allegedly. And now they're charging him with several felony counts. He's looking at 20-something years in prison, maybe per charge. We're not sure.
I think it's per charge.
But either way, it's a lot of time. He's a man in his early 30s.
I think that would be cruel and unusual. Like, it just absolutely.
They don't
ridiculous.
seem to apply that to sexual assault when it comes to people under the age of consent. They just treat it like you're the most horrible person in the world.
It's supposed to be like the highest law of the land, though, right?
What? What is?
I mean, it's in the Constitution, right? Cruel and unusual punishment. So you would think that it's the highest law of the land, therefore it should overrule any other law that they pass.
Well, right, again, but it's all in the eyes of the beholder, right?
Well,
what's cruel and
they're
unusual.
the ones that get to determine whether or not it's cruel and unusual.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. But
So then we stumbled into this story, according to one of our callers, about the porn law going into effect in the UK, where apparently companies are now going to be locking down their porn sites unless you have a special code that you'll have to go and buy somewhere. We'll tell you more about that here in a moment, but let's go to the phones, to the fun. We got Zach in New York. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Zach.
How are you doing this evening?
Hey.
I was wondering if you're talking about porn. The guy named Fabian Tillman, the German business magnate who owns Manwin MindGeek, the massive porn conglomerate.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, not familiar with it.
There's a whole series of podcasts by John Ronson called The Butterfly Effect, where essentially he delves into the people who created free online streaming pornography and destroyed the porn business as it traditionally existed, and all the fallout from that. It's pretty interesting if you ever want to check that out. That might enlighten your porn debate.
Hold on. The porn industry has been destroyed? I wasn't aware. I thought that it was, bigger than ever.
The old porn industry of when they were selling physical copies to people and making like $30 per pop. There were all these. Joe Rogan said he had a neighbor who was this rich porn guy who ended up going bankrupt and having to lose his house because the money all dried up. The internet destroyed the traditional porn.
It definitely destroyed porn distribution, but it by no means has it destroyed pornography.
It destroyed it like it destroyed the newspapers and other media.
The same guy who created streaming internet pornography then bought up all the production houses and the existing infrastructure for pennies on the dollar and became big porn, which is this Fabian Tillman guy.
All right.
Interesting.
What I wanted to talk to you guys about, did you read the Gavin Mcinnes article that's up on the Daily Beast about how he essentially wrote a letter to his neighbors saying, please stop getting ready to burn me with pitchforks. They're putting up signs that say, he has no home here. There was a woman who's been actively whipping up the town into a frenzy. The fact that he actually lives there and
who is this, Gavin?
This is a right-wing guy. He's like the founder of the so-called Proud Boys, who then, I guess, subsequently resigned from the Proud Boys because, like a lot of things that people found, it went off in a different direction.
You're getting into some very fine detail stuff without.
Well, he asked me who he was, so
I've never heard of the guy. You're asking if I've read an article by the guy, and I'm trying to figure out who he is.
I'm talking about the Daily Beast article that came out, I believe, today. Today's the 4th, by Will Sommer, where he distributed a letter.
No, he's asking who he is.
Right. Who's the guy that you're talking about? I've never heard of this guy.
We don't know the article.
I tried to answer the question, but maybe you could answer the question better, Zach. Go ahead.
Vice Media founder, who he started the Proud Boys on his show on CompoundMedia.com. That guy.
He's a right winger, from what I understand. He was on recently with Alex Jones on. Yeah,
I've heard of the Proud Boys. They're white nationalists.
I don't know if that's true.
They don't describe themselves as white nationalists, but like everything that I've ever heard from somebody that is a member of the Proud Boys sounds exactly like white nationalism.
Yeah.
As I understand,
who you are aware that is a Proud Boy besides Gavin Mcinnes? His right-hand man is. His name is Ryan Rivera, who is half Japanese, half Puerto Rican. His wife is Ho Chunk. His children are of mixed race.
Yeah.
And the libel that he is a white nationalist is exactly the kind of the problem. So people are putting up these signs all around town. He distributes the letters, just basically saying, I'm a human being, I have a family. And that is being used as further fuel to demonize the guy, which I find pretty fascinating.
Yeah, as I understand the story with the Proud Boys, because we actually have had some discussions about this group in the past, and I kind of figured they were what you were talking about, Darryl. What they actually appeared to be, or at least as he founded it. Now, he's resigned from the Proud Boys, so maybe that's because they went in a different direction. Because, when you create an organization and the board takes over, and then the board...
That is not the reason he resigned.
Okay.
Those 9 guys in New York City who were arrested for defending themselves after he gave a talk when they were attacked by Antifa, they are basically getting ready to make an example out of these guys, and he was advised that by stepping down from an organization that he only symbolically was the leader of, it might help these guys beat some sort of fake gang charges.
Tell me if I understood, though, correctly, that the Proud Boys aren't necessarily white nationalists because they do have some, non-white people in them.
It's a multi-ethnic organization.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is I understand it. Just correct me here if I'm wrong. I just want to try to explain what I understand about them, is that they are a pro-Western, male kind of thing. Like, they believe that a woman's place is in the kitchen, that kind of attitude.
That's not exactly a fair way. Basically, one of the tenets is to venerate the housewife, which is really a jerk way of saying women should be comfortable staying at home and having children, and the family unit itself.
That basically means a woman's place is in the kitchen. That's what that means. To venerate the housewife, that means a woman should be cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children.
Barefoot and pregnant.
That's exactly what that means.
A woman should be proud to be able to do those things.
Okay, that seems like you're splitting hairs.
To have children isn't necessarily like a sacrifice. Women should be able to be comfortable being a woman who nurtures their own children and has a family. Going out into the workforce to compete with men for no reason, and then to be 40 years old with a cat and a career, that's not really fulfilling in the end. There's all these people who wish they
that's
had
not
actually,
fulfilling a man.
That's suggesting that
fulfilling for anybody.
That sounds like.
Well, how do you know that? Are you a Proud Boy?
Oh no, I am a killer termite. Actually, that's how I self-identify.
A killer termite? What's that mean?
You can just Google it later. Anyway, what I was thinking...
I don't know if I want to.
Instead of the porn thing, which, it's what built the internet, and I think it's here to stay. So
yeah.
I hope you
Hey,
guys
look,
have a
I don't think there's anything wrong with if a woman wants to stay at home and take care of home duties, that's fine. I mean, I don't care. But to suggest that it's not fulfilling for a woman to do what she wants to do, which is to say if a woman feels like her calling is to go out and work, then presumably that is what is fulfilling to her because that's what she's chosen.
And why would that prevent you from having a child anyway or having children?
Well, it makes it more difficult. I mean, certainly you can't get,
Can
you
I
don't get to raise your own
tell you what
kids.
Gavin Mcinnes, what I imagine he would say?
Okay.
He talks about, he calls them poop checks because he believes that having children is a miracle. kind of like the glowing thing. And
that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, look, Zach, great call. Thanks for making it tonight. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. The children are not miracles. Look how many of them there are. Okay, like a miracle is a special event that is unusual and so crazy and amazing that it's worth talking about.
Right.
I understand everybody thinks that about their kids. Oh, you're just a miracle. My child's a miracle. Your kid looks just the same as every other kid. They're all the same. They all cry. They all poop. They all do the same things. And they're not miracles. Sorry to say. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Look, I love Jazzy the studio beast, but she's not a miracle either. She's just a dog, and a good one.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at lrn.fm? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at lrn.fm. That's lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. You can bring up anything that you want here on Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Smart Cash, brand new sponsor here on Free Talk Live. And they're also, I believe, sponsoring the FPP radio news.
They are, yes.
Smart Cash is kind of all over the Liberty community right now. I was actually watching the Adam Kokesh video. They're sponsoring Adam Kokesh. They're behind Ben Swan nowadays, and they just joined Free Talk Live. They're a peer-to-peer digital currency that, of course, is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. Now, they're one of the newer cryptos out there, and Smart Cash, I don't know if everybody behind it's libertarian, but if you judge based on the people they're sponsoring, it seems like a lot of them probably are. We did one of those proposals because you can, it's like sort of like, remember we promoted Dash for a while here on Free Talk Live. Dash has a proposal system. Well, Smart Cash also has a proposal system with an important difference, a big difference, in fact. If you are a Dash masternode, you have 1,000 Dash, and if you do the math, that's like tens of thousands of dollars. At one time,
correct,
it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right now, if you want to use the Smart Cash voting system, as long as you have some Smart, I think at least one of them, then you'll
I
be able
don't
to
think
vote.
it's even a full Smart.
Okay.
One Smart is one vote.
Yeah.
So if you have half a Smart in a wallet, you get half a vote.
Okay.
If you have those 10,000 Smart, then you would have 10,000 votes. Whereas with that Dash Masternode that you mentioned, you've got 10,000 Dash sitting on a thing. You get one vote.
Now, obviously, the prices of cryptocurrency can change over time.
Yes.
But if you don't have more than one Smart, you're doing something really wrong, because the Smart Cash right now is worth less than 2 cents.
Yes.
So,
about 1.5.
Yeah. You're going to have a tough time buying one Smart, is basically what I'm saying. If you're going to get some Smart, you're probably going to get a lot more than one of them.
Yes.
So you can vote in these proposals if you have any amount of Smart. So it's a totally different voting system. Plus, they also have Smart Rewards, which is a price stabilization mechanism. It's a way to encourage people to hold on to Smart for the long term. And you know what essentially that does is the more people are holding this crypto, Smart Cash, the fewer circulating there are, and so therefore in theory the price can go up from that. So they're rewarding people for holding on to Smart. If you have at least 1,000 Smart and you hold that in a wallet to which you hold the private keys, which is, you know, most wallets out there,
right?
Not exchanges,
right? They do specify that if it's in an exchange, you are not getting Smart rewards.
So if you hold on to at least 1,000 Smart, then that, and that's not hard to get to, hold on to 1,000 Smart, you will get Smart rewards basically once a month. Now it's distributed based on the number of blocks that are processed, but it essentially
and then there's the snapshot time, and if you miss the snapshot in say November, which we did, then when they did the Smart reward payments in December, we didn't get that, so
because we just missed the snapshot. And also the other key is you can't have any outgoing transactions on that wallet. So
correct, you can have it inbound.
Correct. So what I would recommend is that you have 2 Smart wallets, one from which you could use for spending and the other that you would use for saving, because you don't want to spend out of the wallet that is going to be going for the rewards, basically.
And the the official Android wallet, which I have on my phone,
you can vote in the wallet.
You can. Yeah. It comes pre-installed with 2 Smart Rewards wallets already marked Smart Rewards.
Nice.
And now you could label that whatever you want to, but that way
they're encouraging that. They're encouraging.
Here's 2 wallets for you to go ahead and put at least 1,000 Dash. Or not Dash. Smart
You don't
Cash.
have 1,000 Dash. Most people don't have 1,000 Dash. So it's cool that everybody can be involved in the voting process here. And there's a lot more that they're working on. We can't tell you all about that in, a minute. So go to smartcash.cc and you can learn more about Smart Cash there and get started. Smartcash.cc. As we jump back into your calls and thoughts. Alex is in Maryland listening online. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, everybody. Hey. This is Alex, and I am with the National Youth Rights Association. One of our members called in last month to just kind of introduce you guys to the, I don't know who the hosts were that day, but just to introduce you to the idea of civil rights and equal rights and freedom for young people. And I just wanted to follow up on that.
Well,
and,
we're no stranger to the ideas of rights for young people. I don't know specifically which rights. Which rights are you
You guys probably
advocating?
don't go far enough.
The website appears to be focused mainly on like voting rights.
Well, there's voting rights. There's also, we oppose curfew laws that make it illegal to, leave your house after a certain time.
Right on.
That's good.
We want to lower the drinking age and,
yeah.
Nice.
Protect equal rights, constitutional Bill of Rights stuff in schools.
Do you support lowering the age of majority, meaning that young people should be able to sign contracts before the age of 18?
Or eliminating it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
Right on. And the organization was called what again? National Youth Rights?
The National Youth Rights Association.
Cool.
Youthrights.org is the website. It's a very easy URL to remember.
I like
there.
one of the arguments I like is no taxation without representation. The idea that young people are taxed if they go and get a job, but they can't vote.
Right. And there's actually a proposed constitutional amendment here in New Hampshire this year that would allow 17-year-olds to vote in a primary if they turn 18 before the general election.
Okay, it's a step in the right direction.
Step in the right direction. Obviously it's not what I would prefer to see, but I'll definitely be there, probably as the only person other than the sponsor and some students from a high school to actually testify in favor.
Well, if I'm there, I would testify in favor of it as well.
Yeah, me too.
Well, so that change is actually fairly common now. Just in the last 5 or 10 years, it's been really gaining steam, and probably 20 or 30 states have that same law in place. But we've been working on pushing things further. We've gotten a few towns here in Maryland to lower their voting age to 16 for all local elections. And that's in the general, not just the primary.
Unfortunately, the voting age things are baby steps in the right direction, but on the other side, you've got problems where some states and cities are making it so people have to be older in order to do things like purchase nicotine-related products. Right here in our very own city of Keene, they recently raised the age to 21. We may see a proposal, likely, I imagine there's already one been made to do that statewide here in New Hampshire, which is horrifying. They did it in Massachusetts within the last several years, raised it statewide. First, they allowed the towns to raise them, and some towns did, and then they went ahead and did it statewide. The marijuana legalization proposal is only for 21 and up, so we're also seeing this push to say that, oh, well, if you're 18, you're not really an adult. You can't really make all the decisions for yourself, and it is super insulting.
It seems like if you can't vote, why should the law apply to you?
Indeed. Alex, thanks for calling. Appreciate it. Good luck with your campaigns. Let us know if anything develops out there in the world of youth rights. I definitely appreciate hearing from you, man. More coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts welcome. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us on our Discord server. We got Discord on-air call-in line rooms that are open for you, too, over at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here,
I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. How is this new system going to work in the UK, which is going to be some sort of porn lockdown, basically? And that's something we actually stumbled into here thanks to one of our callers. This is how the show works. We bring things in to talk about, and sometimes that sparks other conversations that are also related and interesting. So with you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Get interactive on our website in a variety of different ways. Freetalklive.com's got archives that go way back, all the way down to 2006. And that's an incredible amount of archives. We've also got other ways for you to support the show there, like the AMP program, getting on our email list, and so much more. Go check it out at freetalklive.com. As we continue here, the story from the BBC. What will this new system that is, I guess, being implemented look like? I'm not sure as to when the deadline is, as to when they're going to actually implement this, but it apparently is coming about or is already there. According to the BBC, in a story written in 2018 in April, there says here a lot of different companies are developing age verification software. So there are likely to be a few different ways you'll be asked to prove your age depending on the porn site that you visit.
Those different companies, Wired names them, a few of them anyway. Yoti, Vereem, GBG, AV Secure, and Age ID.
It used to be that you just put in a credit card number and that was enough, because you wouldn't have a credit card number legally unless you were 18.
And apparently Age ID is being criticized as, I guess, not being valid because it's created by MindGeek, which is the company that owns Pornhub.
That's the guy who called, I think a dude called about that recently.
Yeah.
It could mean going to a shop, handing over ID, and collecting a 16-digit code to use on a porn website. MindGeek, which is the one you just mentioned, biggest online porn company in the world, has introduced its own verification services. They own Pornhub, YouPorn, RedTube, and they own a production studio called Brazzers. The company's product expects to sign between 20 to 25 million UK users. Although the final details of what its age verification...
Aren't there only 30 million people that live in the UK?
It's not that large. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
I think it's larger than that.
I guess they're suggesting there are a lot of people who are going to be watching porn.
Yeah.
It's
okay. It's 66 million.
Still.
It's small. It's
that's
not
a third of the country there.
Right.
Although the final details have yet to be announced, the spokesperson told Newsbeat Age ID has multiple third parties covering such methods as a credit card, mobile SMS, passport, and driver's license. Quote, however, the regulations pertaining to which age verification methods are to be compliant with the law have yet to be published, as of April at least, nor made their way through Parliament. Therefore, Age ID will adapt as these come to light. So again, it's just what I said was going to happen, was these companies, whether they're located in the UK or not, won't matter. If they want those 25 million UK users, they're going to put this age verification in place, and odds are they're going to force it on everybody.
Somebody needs to teach these politicians how to use a search engine, because as soon as the system goes live, there's going to be tons and tons of these like passcodes to get into these porn sites just floating around Google.
Well,
floating around the internet.
Not only that,
and you're going to be able to do a search for it.
But if you go to Google, they have this option called Safe Search. And if you turn Safe Search off, and then you type in whatever it is that you're looking for,
porn. Right,
and then you click the image tab,
there it is.
There's a bunch of porn there.
And I bet you any young person who wants to get at porn is a heck of a lot more knowledgeable than me in regards to these things.
The Wired article, they do this as sort of like a Q&A sort of thing. Won't it be really easy to get around? In short, yes. It will not be impossible for anyone under 18 to access porn. There's still going to be plenty of pornography that can be viewed easily through various social media. Additionally, virtual private networks, which connect connect to servers in other countries, can be used to get around age verification checks
or just
in the
proxies.
UK.
Free web proxies.
Do you remember the Ashley Madison case? This is, by the way, there's some that feel allowing one company to sign up 25 million British porn viewers is an accident waiting to happen. Pandora Blake, who sits on the advisory council of the Open Rights Group, says, quote, it's going to be the most hackable list of what people like to look at ever. Do you remember the Ashley Madison case? And people killed themselves. I don't think it's outrageous to fear that that's what we could be looking at here, an actual loss of life.
Now, there's an interesting point that's brought up there about it might create, and we don't know if it will create, but it might create that database of, user, fill in the blank 16 digits, searched for these particular terms on this particular website.
And that could be linked to a crime.
Who's the sick freak looking at nun porn?
Or whatever. Or maybe they search for something that is outlawed in the UK, which could result in criminal charges. In 2016, the names of almost 800,000 registered users of MindGeek's Brazzers site were exposed in a data breach. But MindGeek's Age ID says, quote, it will not and cannot store any age verification data, and that it won't monitor what you watch. Trust us. We're just working with the government here. I mean, what could go wrong? The changes can be traced back to a speech former Prime Minister David Cameron made back in 2013. His aim was to better protect children from online contents for adults. The NSPCC claims nearly two-thirds of 15 to 16-year-olds have seen pornography. Whoa, that's all? Only two-thirds of them?
That seems like very likely a statistic that is blatantly inaccurate. Because
they're asking the teenagers, right?
Yes.
In an anonymous survey. Remember, did they ever give those to you in school?
Yes,
where they're like, we won't.
I remember exactly what the kids did. They just fill out the bubbles and they make all sorts of
Christmas tree them.
Yeah, like Christmas. Yeah, like just different shapes and things.
I remember the thing of, have you ever used drugs? Yes, all the time, every day, all of them. I never used drugs in high school.
Yeah, but a lot of us were actually paranoid that they were going to find out if we were honest. So there's a lot of people who won't even write the truth.
So there's the people like me that would give the fake answer, And then the people like you that were like, I'm not answering this, honestly.
Yeah.
So, like, it all kind of evens out in the end.
Nobody took it seriously, and that was the ultimate
they
problem.
didn't. Right.
And yeah, I mean, if you're drawing like houses or something using the bubble dots or whatever, like to make the house, it's like, come on, you're gonna have there's like even multiple dots that you're using in a row.
Well, usually that will invalidate your answer.
Right. It will exactly. That's exactly the point that I'm making.
I was told that there was I think my senior year, might have been my junior year, we had one of these stupid, standardized test things that had not previously been done for that class.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, screw this. And so I'm just like writing words in the blocks. And I was told, don't come back tomorrow. We're throwing this away because it's totally going to ruin the scores and something. And there were like 2-3 dozen other people that same thing. They were all told, don't come back.
I want to go to the phones here. We got Joe on the line calling, listening to KABQ in Albuquerque. Hello, Joe. You're on Free Talk Live.
Howdy.
Yeah, you're on the
I
air.
was just listening about the discussion about the shutdown.
Yeah.
And basically the reason that it's only a partial shutdown is because they don't fund the government through one bill. There's a series of funding bills for particular parts of the government. Some have been passed, some have not been passed. And so depending on which ones have been passed, those are the agencies that are closed down.
Well, if they wanted to pass a single budget, they could pass a single budget. They've just been arguing over, little minutia.
Well, yeah, you bring up an interesting point, Joe, and I don't know if this is where you're going with this. If you want to hang on to continue the discussion, you can, but because we were talking about what happens if this budget issue becomes protracted. Trump saying that he could go for years on this without approving these budgets until he gets what he wants. If it goes on for a year, then presumably these other budgets will come up, and he'll also refuse to fund those too, won't he?
He's not going to refuse to fund the military.
Well, yeah, probably not. Joe, hang on.
Those are the type of things where he's going to draw the line and say, well, we have to do this.
Yeah, stand by, Joe. If you got more to say, hang on. We can bring it back here in a moment. I know you didn't have much time, so I want to make sure you made your point, because I don't know if you'd gotten to it yet. More on the way here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Hopefully with Joe, your calls and thoughts about whatever you want in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, which are coming up.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of LicoChops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved LicoChops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try LicoChops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. Join American Cannabis Summit online at acs2018.com. Attendance is free. That's acs2018.com.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We got enough time for you if you jump on the lines right now. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. By the way, we do have a Twitch channel. I mentioned it earlier. You can go to twitch.lrn.fm. You can watch us there, should you like to do that. Or you can actually use it to stream audio. That's one of the options on Twitch. People were asking, well, how do I use Twitch and also use my email at the same time, like on a phone? Because Twitch has an app. You just go to the options. You hit the little gear, and then you can choose audio only, or you can even pop out the video if you want to float a little video window around your phone. So it's pretty handy. Twitch.lrn.fm. Of course, that's not the only way to listen to the show. We get plenty of audio streams and such over at freetalklive.com, so you can check that out too. But Twitch also has a chat room, and it's a way for you to get streams of multiple shows, including The Call to Freedom, which is another great show on LRN during Afternoon Drive. In fact, Chris, you are on The Call to Freedom, I think, on Tuesdays.
I am, that's correct.
So that is where you can get more of Chris. In fact, you can get even more of Chris on his own show, which is Freedom Decrypted. That starts tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on freedomdecrypted.com. And also available, you can't nod. People can't hear the nods.
Yes.
He's acknowledging that it does indeed start at 5 o'clock Eastern at freedomdecrypted.com.
That's for your information.
Yes. And then also, let's see, there's the podcast version of the show as well.
Yeah.
So you can subscribe and receive those in your podcast client of your preference. Check him out over at freedomdecrypted.com. It's a tech show. It's tech-oriented, freedom-oriented.
Yeah, it's a libertarian tech show, basically.
Which the world needs more of that. In fact, I think we can announce that. Have you ever listened to your competition, Brian Sovereign and Sovereign Tech?
Not really.
You ought to check him out.
I think I might have once.
You ought to check him out. You should do a little cross promo. See if maybe you should listen to his show, see if you like it, and then I don't know, invite him down to sit in on your show, and maybe he'll have you on his show, and you know, a little cross promotion doesn't.
This is gonna be hard to believe, but I actually don't listen to podcasts.
I don't either.
Really.
I don't either. But I do like Sovereign Tech. Whenever I hear him on LRN.FM, he's got good energy. He's got a good.
And he recently went back to 1 hour, where originally he was 1 hour, and then he went to 2.
Okay.
He recently went back to 1 hour, but he's putting out a lot of bonus content for patrons during the week.
So, like that reduction of time, it's really only reducing one of the shows that he's doing, and then he's just sort of making it up with other content.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to see what others are doing. Maybe he's got an idea that could be useful to you, and vice versa. So, that's why I always come from the perspective of LRN.FM. When I first started LRN.FM, Mark was like, "Why are you doing this? It's just promoting your competition." Because we've got dozens of libertarian shows on there that basically introduces our listeners to other options, some of which they might like more than us, right? And
it's hard to compete with Free Talk Live.
Well, thanks, but that's not. I mean, some people like other shows better than us.
I've listened to some of the other shows a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe I just haven't come across one that's actually any good, relatively speaking, compared to Free Talk Live. But no, I mean, honestly, Free Talk Live is a pretty darn good show.
Well, we've been doing it longer,
right?
Than most of the other ones,
so it's hard to compete with.
But that said, it does promote our competition, and that's okay because not everybody's meant to listen to Free Talk Live. Not everybody's going to like Ian or Darryl or whatever, whatever their preferences are.
Right.
Maybe they want to hear other talk. Maybe they want to hear a tech show. Maybe they want to hear a show about Bitcoin. We've got all those shows at LRN.FM, so check that out. Let's go back to Joe, though. He's listening on the radio to KABQ in Albuquerque. Joe, you were calling about the government shutdown. You barely had a chance to get a thought out. I wanted to make sure you had a little more time, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, basically, the main point is, Donald Trump doesn't care about border security. He doesn't care about anything but himself.
Sure.
He thinks this is what he needs to do to get elected. So he has no principles on this. That's really the major problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats, it's not about simply opposing Trump. It's the fact that, I know you guys don't like government and everything government does is bad, but
pretty much,
this wall is a huge waste of money. It's not going to do anything to interdict, border security at all. It's basically just a waste of time and money.
Absolutely.
And that being said, I did have a question. Just I always try to understand libertarianism. I have a friend of mine that's a libertarian, so I always try to kind of understand these broad ideas. So basically, libertarians, they don't like any kind of government regulation, any kind of government interference. So basically, the idea is that, let's say a private company should be free to poison or damage people, and the only role the government has is that if I don't die, I can sue them. Is that kind of the idea behind no regulation?
No. And let's look at something that currently the United States federal government doesn't regulate overly. There are some regulations, and Chris, you'll probably find all kinds of minutia here. But most electronics are not overly regulated by the U.S. government as far as saying this toaster isn't going to catch fire. This alarm clock isn't going to explode.
Toasters have caught fire.
They have. And there's probably been an alarm clock that exploded somewhere.
Less often, but it could have
much less often. Yeah. But electronics generally go to certification labs like Underwriters Laboratory. And there are several other labs that will verify that this is a product that does what it says it's going to do, and it is safe to use. Whereas, let's look at a government equivalent, Energy Star, where there was a guy that created all kinds of, shall we say, fraudulent items to see if he could get Energy Star certification for them. One of them was a gasoline-powered alarm clock that wound up getting Energy Star certification. He didn't actually build the thing. He just filled out the application. Yeah. Here's the plans. Here's how it would work. Send it into Energy Star, and they're like, yep, that gets Energy Star certification.
Well, that to me kind of falls under the category of the possible being, or the perfect being the enemy of the impossible. Not everything is perfect. Obviously, people are fallible. People make mistakes. People are greedy, selfish, lazy, But the idea that we shouldn't have government because
here's the thing.
This person messed up.
I want to get an example of where he thinks the government regulation is effective and useful. Give us a category where you think particularly the government ought to be there doing regulation and controlling business.
Well, I think the FDA, the EPA, those are two.
The FDA-approved medications have killed countless people, right?
And the EPA has done more pollution than
that river. Remember the river story?
There's that pollution in Colorado.
How about this? Also, don't forget this, Joe. When it comes to the FDA, And this is a good conversation. I wish we had more time for it. I wish you hadn't called at the end of the show. But regardless, when it comes to the FDA, you also have to factor in the amount of people who've died because the FDA refused to approve certain medications, experimental treatments, experimental medications, things like that. People who wanted to be able to take an experimental medication, they've got some terminal illness or something horrible is going on with their body, and they're not allowed to because the FDA, we haven't approved that yet. Well, that person dies. What if they were able to take that medicine and actually survive because of the experimental medication? We can't calculate how many of those people there are. That's one of the unseen numbers when it comes to the FDA. And the reality is, you can take it down to even the health board in your local town. People think that that's keeping them safe. I mean, the fact is they aren't. The inspectors coming into restaurants are not actually doing anything to keep people safe. It's a joke.
Somebody actually ran the numbers for New York City one time, and it would take several years for the health board to go to every restaurant in New York City.
Well, see, that just means they need more bureaucrats, though, Darryl. They just need to quintuple the size of their investigators. But the reality is they're not doing good investigations. A lot of the times, people I've known in restaurants have said the inspector will come in, sit down for a free meal, glance at the ceiling tiles, and then, sign off the report. I mean, unless they want to target the restaurant, in which case then they find all kinds of problems because the restaurateur ran for city council or something like that. And they want to
I remember when.
Well, and that's again where it gets into the individual person and not necessarily the government as a whole.
But the government is run by people.
This
is a systematic problem, though, that we have. It's not something that's one-off.
Right, and the funding source of government is what libertarians oppose, to where governments are funded by force. If you don't like a project or a program that they are doing, you can't choose to not pay for that.
Right, so
they just take all of your money and say, we're doing all of these things.
I don't care whether it's constitutional or not. I mean, Constitution is just a piece of paper some guys wrote on a long time ago.
If the mafia did a bunch of PR, it doesn't make them not the mafia.
Well, no, that's true. But again,
if the
going back to something fundamental to the founding of the country, giving Congress the power to levy taxes and things like that.
Joe, I'd love for you to call in on a different night because we're unfortunately out of time. This is a great conversation, and I would love to have had more time. I would have held you over a break if we could have, but I guess we did one. But I would have done it for more because it's a good conversation. Call any other night, please, and we can talk about this further because these are important ideas, important to explain, which we don't have time to, how the marketplace can provide competing ways of certifying safety.
Free Talk Live.
The people that fought the Korean War and, frankly, the Afghan War won because those people are the military-industrial complex. And what they wanted is they want things that go boom to go boom so that they can build more things that go boom. That the purpose of the war isn't freedom, it's not justice, it's not any of these higher concepts that, in fact, that the lives, minds, and bodies of the people that are going out there and fighting for these wars, that they are inconsequential to the politicians and the people for whom they work.
So you're saying the state won these wars, Vietnam and Afghanistan. The state won, but the individuals who fought the war, they're the ones that took the brunt of it. They're the ones that lost.
That's right.
And I totally agree. They do enough to make it seem like they're doing something and to keep us happy enough just to control it.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, January 4th, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,284 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.45 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,814. Antiwar.com reports after announcing the U.S. withdrawal from Syria in the wake of a phone call with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President Donald Trump held a second call days later seeking assurances from Erdogan about what would happen to the Syrian Kurdish territory Turkey is about to invade. Trump told Erdogan he was under pressure and needed a pledge from Erdogan that the Turkish invasion would not lead to a humanitarian crisis or destabilize the region. Exactly how this result was envisioned is unclear. Erdogan's pledges weren't super reassuring either, as he only told Trump he had no quarrel with Syrian Kurds per se, and reiterated his position that the Kurdish YPG are terrorists that need to be confronted militarily. Yet the YPG is also the de facto regional government of Rojava, the Syrian Kurdish territory, and invading that region encompassing 1/3 of Syria and destroying that faction through force of arms can be expected to both destabilize the region and cause a big humanitarian crisis. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. UPI reports at the close of 2018, the U.S. national debt was more than $2 trillion higher than when President Donald Trump took office, according to data released on Thursday by the U.S. Treasury Department. The national debt reached $21.974 trillion as of December 31st. The increase in debt came a little more than a year after Trump signed a tax reform bill, and a lower corporate tax rate lowered Treasury revenues. The Congressional Budget Office also reported that the federal budget deficit increased to $779 billion, representing 3.8% of the gross domestic product in fiscal year 2018, up from 3.5% in 2017. Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Kevin Hassett said Thursday morning that Trump is absolutely concerned about the rising national debt, adding, "We can disagree about a lot of things, but we can agree maybe now is the time to get serious about the deficit." Hassett added that the rising debt contributed to Trump's decision in October to call for each cabinet agency to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments in 2019. The CBO said debt held by the public increased to 78% of GDP at the end of 2018, the highest percentage since 1950. Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features Smart Rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn Smart Rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 Smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart Rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc. Reuters reports Democrats wasted no time flexing their new power in the U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday by approving legislation backed by new Speaker Nancy Pelosi that would end a 13-day partial government shutdown, ignoring President Donald Trump's demands for $5 billion for a border wall. The White House on Thursday issued a veto threat against both parts of the Democratic legislation, but that did not deter House Democrats. Thursday marked the first day of a divided government in Washington since Trump took office in January 2017, as Democrats took control in the House from his fellow Republicans, who remain in charge in the Senate. The 2019-2020 Congress convened with roughly a quarter of the federal government closed, affecting 800,000 employees, in a shutdown triggered by Trump's demand last month for money for a U.S.-Mexico border wall as part of any legislation funding government agencies. The House earlier on Thursday had formally picked Pelosi, a veteran Democratic lawmaker and liberal from San Francisco, as its speaker, beginning her second stint in one of Washington's most powerful jobs. She is the only woman to ever serve as speaker and and will preside over the most diverse U.S. House in history, including a record number of women and Latinos. The two-part Democratic package includes a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security at current levels through February 8th, providing $1.3 billion for border fencing and $300 million for other border security items, including technology and cameras. The second part would fund other federal agencies that are now unfunded, including the Departments of Agriculture, Interior, Transportation, Commerce, and Justice through September 30th, the end of the current fiscal year. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah. Yep. We're here on Declare Your Independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, from the BEAU beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, FreedomsPhoenix.com. Oh, we were looking forward to having some QAnon, accuracy of something finally happened. They said something yesterday didn't happen.